fell!
Stretcher! We'll take it from here.
Actually, the emergency, move! 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 20. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 25. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 30. Time of death, 0428.
Everything's gonna be okay, sayang. Don't worry. Okay? Doctor. Yes.
Doctor.
Aisha,
Listen.
I'm so sorry. There was nothing we can do. I shall give you both some privacy. I'm so sorry. Aisha.
Kill.
Nurse, based on the child's injury, I think there's more to the story.
What would you like me to do, Doctor?
We need to make a police report.
Understood.
Please take down these pointers.
The child was brought in with 4 injuries.
But the mail suggests it was an accident.
Yes, but after examining the child's injuries, the attending doctor thinks it's possible that the injuries are non-accidental.
Sayang.
Sir, I did interview Alif. After the fall, he met up with Aisha, and they discussed what to do about Akil's injuries.
At first, they thought Akil was okay.
According to him, yes, but eventually, they got worried because Akil lost consciousness, so they decided to bring him to the hospital.
Good job. We'll take it from here.
Thank you, sir.
Just 9 months old. We hope you can spare us a moment of your time.
But I told the other officer everything already.
I understand, but when there's any loss of life involved, it's important for us to clarify the facts.
Aisha is my girlfriend. Akil is her son. He was very cranky. He kept fidgeting. When I was closing the door, he suddenly fidgeted and fell. Akil!
And that's when he hit the floorboard of the van.
He bounced off the floorboard and then landed on the car park floor.
And that's what you relate to Dr. Michael Tan as well. Is that correct?
Yes.
I observed 3 discrete, well-defined bruises on Akil's forehead. If Akil fell as Ali described, there should be either 1 or 2 poorly defined bruises instead.
You mentioned that the timeline given by Alif was unusual as well.
He told me that the fall happened around midnight. Alif then met up with Aisha around 1 a.m.
But they only arrived at the hospital after 4 a.m.
Yes. After we were unsuccessful in attending to the child, he was pronounced dead at around 4:30 a.m.
There was a large chunk of time between the accident and bringing Akil to the hospital.
That's why, in my view, there may be grounds for suspecting that injuries were non-accidental.
Morning, sir. Based on what Hamid and I have learned so far, we wanted to get your views on this case.
Thanks. We'll start off by examining the van.
So, this is where his head hit the floor of the van.
So the child's head made contact here when he fell, then he bounced off and landed on the floor?
Yes, somewhere around here. Yeah.
Sir, I'd like to request you come with us to Woodlands Division HQ to assist us with our investigations.
Okay.
Sir, thanks for coming on such short notice.
It's okay. Thanks for the groundwork by the team.
The duty IO from CID, SSI Mazlan, has interviewed Alif together with me.
Yes, I received a download of the facts by Maslan. The subject's account doesn't match up with the injuries. There's more to the story.
There's also a significant time lag between the accident and Alif bringing Akil to the hospital. That part also needs to be explained.
I agree. We'll be looking into all these points. But first, I need to speak to the child's mother. We understand that this is a difficult time for you, Miss Aisha. And we are so sorry for your loss. But any information you can give it to us would be helpful.
Everything was quite normal last night. We were having a meal together in the mall. During the meal, Akil knocked over Alif's drink.
Akil! What you did?
Obviously, he didn't mean it.
He needs more discipline. Why aren't you scolding him?
Because it was an accident, right? Yeah.
Akil, let's go to the toilet and clean up.
Okay. I don't know why, but he was really triggered by that.
How did Alif end up taking Akil for the night?
Hey, Sarah. You're working tomorrow morning, right? I can take Akil for tonight.
You sure?
Yeah, sure. Anyway, it's nearer for you to go to work from your brother's place, right?
It was the first time he offered to do it. I was glad that he was making an effort with Akil because actually Akil is my son from my ex-husband. At that time, I didn't know that it would be the last time I see my son looking so happy.
I was waiting at the car park because I couldn't go home yet. My relatives were at my place. So, I wanted to wait until they went home first, then bring Akil over.
So while you're waiting, that's where you're carrying him and he fell.
Maybe you can describe exactly what happened again to us in detail.
What happened before the fall?
Akil! Akil, what do you want? I told you to keep quiet, right? I said keep quiet! He was crying a lot, and I was quite frustrated. Shut up! I said keep quiet, right? But I didn't mean to hurt him.
What did you do?
I just wanted him to stop.
Alif, what did you do?
I pushed his head onto the floor of the bed.
Before the break, we saw the suspect make a shocking statement. What will our IOs do next? Find out after this quick update about scam trends for 2025.
2025 saw a 27.6% dip in the number of scam cases reported, from 51,501 cases in 2024 to 37,308 cases last year. Although case numbers have declined, it's crucial that we don't let our guard down. Let's zoom in on government official impersonation scams. In these scams, victims receive calls from people claiming to be from government agencies such as the Singapore Police Force. The caller says that there are issues with the victim's bank account or that the victim is involved in money laundering activities. To resolve these fake issues, the victim is asked to provide his or her banking credentials and one-time passwords. In some cases, the scammer even convinces the victim to buy jewelry and gold bars, which the scammer collects under the pretense of safekeeping. To avoid such scams, take a moment to pause and check. That's what the C in ACT stands for. Add, check, tell. Check is about slowing down to check if you're not sure something is a scam. If you receive a call or message that says you have an issue with your bank account or are involved in money laundering activities, it's okay to hang up. You can also check directly with the agency mentioned to verify the call. Remember, Singapore government officials will never ask you over the phone to transfer money or cryptocurrency or to buy and hand over jewelry and gold bars. Unsure if it's a scam? Call the 24/7 Scam Shield helpline at 1799 to speak to a helpline operator. It's always better to check first. Remember, together we can act against scams. And now, back to the case.
Based on the current case facts, we arrested Alif for voluntarily causing grievous hurt. Let's see what the pathology says after he completes his autopsy.
So we did a check on the CCTV footage from the hospital. Ali's van was seen entering the hospital car park around 3:30 a.m.
The CCTV from the basement car park shows a couple leaving the van with a child at 3:51 a.m. But they only arrived at A&E at 4:11 a.m.
And Akil was pronounced dead at 4:28 a.m.
So what were they doing for 20 minutes? Maybe you can start from the beginning. After Alif called you to inform you that Akil was injured.
When he came to pick me up, I thought he just wanted to talk. He sounded so panicked when he called.
What did he say? Sarah, I'm trying my best, okay? It's not my fault. Promise me that you won't leave me.
Hey, it's okay. Whatever happens, we can work it out, okay? We drove around in circles for a long time at the International Business Park.
So he didn't mention anything about what happened to Akil.
Only much later.
Sarah, Akil is at the back.
The bag? Why is he not at home? Alif, stop the car! Akil, what is he doing here?
Aisha.
That's when he told me about Akil's fall. How he hit his head on the van and fell to the ground in the car park. Akil? Alif? I realized that Akil was feeling a bit cold. Why is he not breathing, Alif? I wanted to bring him to the hospital, but Alif was worried that he would be accused of being responsible for hurting him. We need to bring him to the hospital.
No. Please.
What do you mean, no?
I don't want anyone to think that I did anything wrong.
It's okay, it's an accident, but we need to bring him to the hospital. No. He's not breathing. So when I begged Alif to bring him to the hospital, whatever you want me to tell the doctor, I'll tell the doctor. Let's just bring him to the hospital, please. But even then, he didn't want to.
Why not? We hire someone and ask him to bury him.
I refuse. What do you mean, babe? We just need to bring him to the A&E lah. The doctor will know what to do.
I don't want Aisha.
Eventually, Alif agreed. But only after I promised to tell the same story.
So that's where you both brought Akil to the hospital in the van.
Sorry, what happened after that is a blur. I only know that we parked in the basement.
So you didn't go straight to A&E?
He told me to wait in the food court while he tried to find a place to throw that stupid phone away. I think he threw it in a bush somewhere near a bus stop. We finally brought Akil to the A&E.
Sir, I found it.
Good job. Let's also pull out the CCTV and the POCAM footage near MSCP where he parked the van. Let's see what else we can find. And get this to forensics. Ask them to check for any blood stains or any kind of DNA around the phone.
Yes, sir.
Hi, sir.
Thanks for turning this around so quickly.
Forensic analysis did not detect any presence of blood or DNA on the phone casing that matched those of the child.
Any other information you can give to us?
We will send you the full report shortly.
Thanks again. So Ali's phone probably wasn't used as a weapon. But what about the other CCTV? Let's see what we have so far.
Alif's van entered a multi-story car park at Block 840A Yishun Street 81 at 10:08 p.m. Alif's phone was also analysed by our forensics and his messages were retrieved. At 10:51 p.m, Alif sends a message to his father telling him that he wants to bring Akil back home. His father replied that he shouldn't come back. Then at 11:02 p.m, Alif was seen leaving the multi-story car park.
The POCAM picks him up near a supermarket, and the supermarket CCTV shows him buying some items. And that was around 11:05 p.m. He was seen returning the same way about 5 minutes later. And then comes several calls to Aisha until around 11:30 p.m. But she didn't answer. She only called him back close to midnight. And that's where he drives to meet her.
And then they drive around until they end up at the hospital car park at around 3:30 a.m.
And then Ali spent some time trying to find a place to dispose his phone, and only arrived at A&E at 4:11 a.m. And Akil was pronounced dead.
0428.
Dr. Law is calling. Yes, Dr. Law.
What I observed are acute subdural hemorrhage and acute subarachnoid hemorrhage.
So basically, internal bleeding inside the skull, right?
In my view, these hemorrhages are what ultimately caused the death of the child.
And what will cause all these injuries?
Infliction of blunt force trauma to the head and face would be sufficient.
What are these other injuries that you observed, Dr. Lau?
Bruising and abrasions on the nose and scalp, lacerations on the frenulus of the upper lip on the inside. And it was these injuries that first made me suspicious that this child didn't simply suffer an accidental fall.
Actually, the suspect has admitted in pushing the child's head against the floorboard of the van twice. So would pushing the child's head to the floor of the van, as what the suspect described, cause all these injuries as well as the hemorrhages?
Well, that depends on the amount of force used. But if an adult male doing so to a 9-month-old child, it's possible.
Tell us more about the way you pressed Akil's head to the floorboard of the van.
Has he stopped crying, right? She don't want to stop. I hit his head twice by pushing his head onto the floorboard. But I only used a bit of force.
We know the injuries on Akil were serious. There was 3 main bruises on his forehead. Did you assault him in any other way?
No, I didn't. I didn't.
What was your state of mind? Why did you do this?
Because I felt remorse because of his crying.
It means he felt uneasy.
So you did it, thinking that he would stop crying?
Yes. But I didn't mean to hurt him at all.
But that's what happened. The suspect has admitted to slamming the child's head to the floorboard of the van twice.
With force.
So in your opinion, would it be sufficient to cause the bruising on the child's head and face?
Yes, if blunt force trauma was applied to the head in this manner, it would cause internal bruising of the scalp and the left temporalis muscle, which is what I observed. These forces, when transmitted through the skull, could injure the brain. Now, hemorrhage and brain swelling would have caused a pressure buildup in the intracranial cavity.
But all this injury can happen even without any damage to the skull.
Now, it's important not to be fixated on the presence, or in this case, the absence of skull fractures. While skull bones of infants are quite pliable, they can still be subjected to quite a bit of force and not break. But forces transmitted through the skull can still rupture blood vessels on the surface of the brain.
Once again, thanks for your expertise, Dr. Lau.
I never wanted to harm or kill him. I promise.
Then why did you do it?
I did it in the moment because of frustration. After hearing him crying.
And when you realized that Akil was injured, why did you call Aisha?
Because I thought it was right for her to be informed. If he was hurt, he's her son.
Why didn't you call for the ambulance?
Or why not get help from your father? He could have come downstairs to help you.
And why do you tell Aisha to lie for you at the hospital?
Because I don't want them to think that I did anything wrong.
So did you think that you did anything wrong?
No, I didn't.
Then why did you spend 20 minutes trying to find a place to dispose your phone before arriving at A&E?
There were a lot of things running through my mind at that point.
But you also mentioned that you believed that Akil was still alive at the time, until you and Aisha realized that he was growing weaker. And this is why you brought him to the hospital. The fact is, you were not in a hurry to save Akil's life.
That's why you drove to International Business Park and plotted a way to cover up what you did. And only brought him to the hospital when you realized it was too late.
And even then, you didn't bring Akil to A&E immediately. You took your time to dispose your phone. Tell us the truth. You assaulted Akil, and you tried to cover up what you did. Ultimately, he paid for it with his life.
Forensics has finished processing the van. They actually found several blood spatters, tiny ones.
And they were sent for DNA analysis.
Yes, sir. There was a match with our victim, Akil.
I think it's time for us to get Alif to perform a reenactment of the incident. Can you assume the position in which you committed the act?
In the van, here.
And can you demonstrate to us the way you slammed Akil's head to the floor of the van the first time?
Like this.
And again, the second time?
Like this.
From the first interview when he told me about the accidental fall, he knew what he had done, but wanted to try to cover it up.
One way or the other, the truth will always come out. Alif tried to hide behind a made-up story. In the end, it was the evidence that spoke on little Akil's behalf.
Thanks to the thorough and extensive investigation of officers from the Criminal Investigation Department, the truth about the events of that fateful night was uncovered, and the offender was brought to justice. Evidence crucial to the investigation was also uncovered by pathologists from the Forensic Medicine Division at the Health Sciences Authority, whose analysis of the injuries was instrumental in cracking the case. The police will spare no effort to pursue those who commit such offences, and those involved will be sternly dealt with in accordance with the law.
The traffic police conducts regular enforcement operations against errant motorists to ensure road safety. Tonight, we're taking a closer look at one such operation. It's now 3 a.m. Behind me, traffic police officers have set out an enforcement blitz against errant motorists. As you can see, officers are conducting checks on drivers, passengers, and their vehicles.
Drink driving is dangerous and selfish. Despite repeated warnings and strict enforcement, some motorists continue to drink drive and put other road users and themselves at risk. The traffic police will conduct regular enforcement operations against drink driving. Offenders will face the full brunt of the law. If you drink, do not drive.
Earlier this year, the traffic police carried out a targeted enforcement operation on lorries that were supposed to have speed limiters installed by the 1st of January 2026. During the operation, a number of lorries were found still without speed limiters, and action will be taken against their owners.
The traffic police have sent multiple reminders to lorry owners to install speed limiters by the respective deadlines. Enforcement operations are ongoing to locate these lorries. We will not hesitate to take action against lorry owners for failing to install the speed limiters by their mandatory deadline.
Failing to install a speed limiter is an offence and can carry a fine, a jail term of up to 3 months, or both. Looking ahead to the next phase, lorries registered before 2018 with maximum laden weight between 3,501 kg and 5,000 kg must install speed limiters by the 1st of July 2026. Owners are strongly encouraged to do so early, before the deadline.
The traffic police takes a zero-tolerance stance against those who flout traffic laws and endanger the safety of others. For the safety of all road users, motorists are reminded to comply with Singapore's traffic laws. So now you know, let us work together to help safeguard every day.
We've come to the end of another episode of Crimewatch. I'm Superintendent Joshua Jesudasan. Until next time, do your part to prevent, deter, and detect crime.